Chicago Bears and most Bears fans are gearing up and getting ready for the NFL draft. And on today's episode, I want to talk about an underrated sleeper that the Chicago Bears could target in this draft, as well as two players that, according to Bears Goggles On, the Chicago Bears should steer clear of. We're going to talk a little bit about those things. Plus, today is your show. It's Mailbag Day, so we're getting into your voicemails as well. All that and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Darren Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. I want to start off with this. Ben Johnson talked about how they're going to fill the void left by DJ Moore. We talked a little bit about this on our live stream last night. By the way, you guys stay and locked in with us here on Chicago Bears Central. We do live streams every Wednesday or Thursday, whichever way works during the week. We do live streams with me, C-Dub, and Bobby. It's one of the few chances you get to see all three of us in the same spot, so make sure you guys stay in tune with us for that one on those live stream days. But I want to get into Ben Johnson's comments here. He said this: DJ had the most skins on the wall in terms of production throughout his career. Now, that opens some windows, some targets. Where does it get distributed? You already mentioned Rome and Luther already. It's also a competition between the receiver room and the tight end room and the running back room. Now, this is an interesting take because, A, we know that Ben Johnson likes dual threat running backs. He likes to have a tight end that he can throw to, and he likes to have versatility in his wide receiver core. In yesterday's live stream, I talked about how, the void left by DJ Moore is just the void of somebody who, regardless of how much they're targeted throughout the game, when you call their number and need it to be done, DJ Moore stood out and stepped up in those opportunities. There were games where DJ Moore wasn't really involved in the offensive game plan a lot as far as the number of targets, right? But when things went down or when you needed a big play and you called on and dialed in DJ Moore's number, he stepped up tremendously and was able to do that, right? And so that is a void left of kind of the clutch factor. I think it's still safe to call it the clutch factor. So we'll call that the clutch factor, right? And just the ability to just be a stabilizer when you need I always say like safety valve, things like that. When things break down or you're in a drive and you're like, we need this first down or we absolutely need this touchdown, who's going to be the guy that step into that role? Luther Bird and Rome Odunze absolutely have their cases to be made that they are ready to be those guys for the Chicago Bears next up, right? But outside of that, I also think we have to look at the tight end and the running backs. And the guy that I look at and that I talked about on yesterday's live stream being that guy is Colston Loveland. And I think that Colston Loveland is about to have not only a breakout year in his second year, but one of the best seasons of a Bears tight end ever. Colston Loveland had over 700 yards receiving last year. When you look at there were 19 players, I believe, last year that had over 1,000 yards receiving last year. One of those guys was a tight end. And I think Colston Loveland, with the absence of DJ Moore and how Ben Johnson is now going to use him even more as a slot at times, have him line up as a receiver, as a tight end, those 12-man personnel that we know Ben Johnson loves to get to, there's a huge case to be made that Colston Loveland is the guy as the best route runner and one of the highest football IQ guys on this team, that he's ready to step into that role for the Chicago Bears. And I, for one, hope that he is. I hope that Colston Loveland not only has a breakout year, but a year that we look back on and say, this is a guy that now has made himself one of the top 5 tight ends in the game of football just in his second year. You already look at some of the crazy stats that Colston Loveland was able to do and things like that. And keep in mind, he wasn't even factored into the game plan for maybe the first month of the season very much, right? So now you add into that a full season for him. Knock on wood, health is a thing there, right? A full season for him, and now having to come in and he's going to be a part of that game plan and the chemistry with Caleb Williams being there from day one. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that we could be talking about a 1,000-yard season here for Colston Loveland coming up for the Chicago Bears. And that is a rarity for tight ends, which one that I don't think a lot of people give a lot of credit to, right? So, and that's not to knock Rome Odunze and Luther Burden and all these type of things. I've seen a lot of people say that the Bears are going to have 3,000-yard receivers. When you only have, 19,000-yard receivers on a season in the NFL, it's hard to get to that place where you're going to have that coming from, 3 of those guys coming from one team. It's definitely a possibility, especially with the way that Ben Johnson likes to open things up for his players, but I think outside of all of that, right, you get all of that down, this is going to be a season where I'm really looking at Colston Loveland to make that next step up for the Bears. I think that Loveland is going to be everything that we look at. He's going to be the third down guy. He's going to be Caleb's probably favorite weapon, him and Luther Burden, those type of things. And I think that there's an opportunity and chance for that. That tight end that I said last year had over 1,000 yards. It was Trey McBride with Arizona Cardinals, where he had 1,239 yards last year and 11 touchdowns. I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying that that Colston Loveland's going to have the best season by a tight end, but you got to look. Colston Loveland already was 45th overall in receiving last year, not even just for tight ends. 713 yards, 6 touchdowns, 16 games played. But like I said, some of those games he wasn't even involved in the game plan early into the season. Colston Loveland is about to have a big year, and I think he's going to have not only what we think of as a breakout year, but one of the best years for a Chicago Bears tight end. That's my personal opinion. I'd love to hear from you guys on that one. Let me know how you feel on that down below. With that said, I want to get back into the draft, right? And this is somebody that has been brought up by the Chicago Bears as being potentially somebody that could be the steal of the draft and that could go later on in the draft, and we'll see, right? And that's George Gubbs Jr. out of Florida, right? You look at what he's able to do and the size and everything, right? You look at the NFL scouting combine. Before that, most people had never even heard of him. Then he came into the combine, put on an absolute show. The athletic testing was all out the wazoo, and he absolutely made scouts take notice of what he can be in the NFL level. When you look at his physical profile as well, this is a guy that physically brings everything that like Dennis Allen loves. 6'4", 250 pounds. He's also from Chicago. Not that that necessarily matters, but this is a guy that last season, with Florida, he had two and a half sacks, only 11 sacks over his 3-year collegiate career. But when you look at the what he did in the draft combine, could absolutely be a steal of the draft. Now, I would want the Bears to also go kind of more proven thing, maybe than at defensive tackle if that's what you're going to do. But I don't know where Gubbs Jr. is going to fall at now with what he did in the draft combine. But this is somebody that's clearly saying that the Chicago Bears, or that people are saying the Chicago Bears should target, and if he does, the upside that he has that he could potentially bring to the Chicago Bears being something that can absolutely trade him. Now, it's going to be a late round gamble, and that's the thing that it comes down to that, right? Now, we could go more proven in there, but the Bears are also on a semi-accelerated timeline. I won't say that their timeline's at the place where it's crazy right now, where they need to be looking at everything, but like their timeline is accelerated now. What you want to improve off what you did. Again, I try not to use build on because I know Ben Johnson doesn't like that and respect it to head coach, but you're trying to now take it another step further, right? You're trying to establish some new things, and with the combination of speed and size that Gubbs Jr. has, and that being the motive of what the Chicago Bears are trying to bring to this team and what the identity of the defense to be, according to Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson, I tell you guys, go look at some tape of George Gubbs Jr. And this is a guy that he played 2 years in Florida. His first year there, he played 5. He had 5 sacks. The second year, 2.5 sacks. But take all that away, this is a guy that I think the motor's there. Again, it's a late round gamble. You would still want to address some things early on. But like I said before, the Bears, with Caleb Williams' extension coming and things like that, we don't know if Montez is going to be here on the second contract. So even if you do find and you get a starter here, then you still got to look at the future of Austin Booker and Gubbs Jr. If you do draft them later in the round and stuff like that, you got to start preparing and having that succession plan. You can never have too much talent either, right? You want to be able, and what it seems like the Bears are trying to do, I said this on yesterday's live stream as well, is have a bullpen on that defensive line, meaning that depending on what the matchup needs, you can go into that bullpen and pull out different talent sets, different levels and things like that. I think that's really what this team is looking at and trying to do this season in establishing this new defense and the new kind of standard that they want this defense to play with. And Gubbs Jr. could definitely be that for the Chicago Bears. So if you hear his name in the later rounds in the draft, George Gubbs Jr. out of Florida, 6'4", 250 pounds, a senior, and a guy that I say, hey, it'd be worth taking a gamble on if you even want to really call it a gamble. But let me know what you guys think on that part down below. With that said, I want to get into an article here that labeled 2 players that the Chicago Bears should avoid in the draft. And this is why I get to articles is like, at this point in the season, I know people are just writing anything, right? But one of the people that they said the Bears should steer clear from is quarterback Ty Simpson. Now, when I initially heard this, I'm like, okay, this is why would the Bears draft a quarterback, right? Then you look at Tyson Bagent could be traded, and then you could get a draft pick back, and then you could be looking to have your backup quarterback of the future. Ty Simpson with the Alabama Crimson Tide 3,567 yards last year, 11th in total of collegiate football, 28 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, a QBR of 76, right? And this is a guy that has some talent at the QB role. And if you're looking to have a backup, he was a 4-year player, all at Alabama, right, when it came down to it. Didn't play a lot his first 3 years, played a lot last year as a senior. But I don't even know if backup quarterback is right now something that the Chicago Bears are really worried about. Like, and maybe that's just my misconception on it, and maybe I'm missing something, but are you guys feeling like the Chicago Bears right now are looking at backup quarterback in this draft? And I didn't understand it. Like, I think right now where the Bears' resources are, you don't need to draft a backup quarterback. Like, I get it. Tyson Bagent may be traded. Caleb Williams has, again, knock on wood, has been very healthy over the course of his NFL career. So it's not like you have to worry about that part of it. Now I get to the part if you can get somebody in here and have a solid system quarterback that can back up Caleb Williams, that's what you want. Case Keenum, a veteran, for that matter. But maybe you do that and it makes you feel more comfortable about trading Tyson Bagent. But I think unless you're talking about drafting a QB in round 6 or 7, and even then, I think we got enough things that we already need to address. I don't even know why this is a conversation on drafting a quarterback personally. But hey, again, Ryan Poles, value, and best player available in the mindset that he has in the draft. You can always do something crazy or look at him to do something crazy, so maybe that's a part. But then the other player that they said the Bears should stay away from is Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, which shout out to my boy Steve-O, who is an Oregon fan. Last year, he had 560 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns on 51 receptions. That's an average of 11 yards per reception. He had 308 yards the year before that on 24 receptions, averaged 12.8 yards per reception on that one. So he's a junior coming out of Oregon, and a really good, I think that just a really good system tight end, right? A guy that you look at the tight end room that has Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland, and the tight end room right now is a strength for the Chicago Bears. Now, if you listen to some article writers and things like that, they'll tell you that Cole Kmet is a cut candidate or whatever else it is, and maybe that's what this is built around. You need physicality, and he brings that potentially at the physicality. But right now, I don't know if the Bears need to worry about the tight end. Even if they have it in their mind that Cole Kmet could end up being a player that they may need to trade just to create cap space or whatever else it is, or because of the value there, drafting another tight end right now, does that make sense? But then again, like I say, the thing that always kind of opens itself up to criticism is the fact that Ryan Poles is going to do whatever he feels best for the team. But Kenyon Sadiq, listen, is a guy that, to me, you look at a modern tight end, if you have him and Colston Loveland out there, you have two very versatile tight ends that can do a little bit of everything, right? And, the play calling aspect of that, the scheme part of that opens up so much for Ben Johnson, if that's what he was going to do. I almost said Billy Donovan, Jesus. For Ben Johnson, if that's what he wants to do. But, we'll see. At the end of the day, I think this, right? The Bears have built themselves a foundation that's good. They're looking to refine. They still, outside of the starters that they still need to add in the draft, it's about refinement in other places and finding the right pieces in other places. And we'll see if the Chicago Bears can do that. That's what this offseason is built around. That's what it's about. And let's get it done. Let's see. All right, with that said, let's get into the voicemail portion of the day. We only got 2 voicemails. Y'all have been a little bit lazy in the mailbag. We got 2 voicemails today. The first one that we're getting into, this one's from Keys.
Yo, what's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you and yours. With that being said, let's get to it. So we are a few weeks away from the draft, and I wanted to mention some guys that may not have been talked about yet. Sorry I missed the calling in this week. I had to go on vacation for spring break with baby girl. But anywho, there's a guy. I feel like we know that D-line is a very pivotal position that we need to draft. And we need to draft well, just like we did last year. We're getting Isaac Trapillo and the other assortment of embarrassment and riches that we got with the positional guys, right? So there's a guy right now that's on the FCS level. And every time I watch him, he just has a knack for getting the ball. This past year in 2025, he had 9 sacks, and he was invited to the combine. And it's a guy named Kaleb Proctor. Kaleb Proctor is 6'2", 290. He ran up in the 4.8s, I believe, at the combine. And I think at a 3rd round value, just like how it is, y'all talked about Grayson Halton, right? I think he's better than Grayson Halton. That's just being honest with you. He played against LSU, and I know he had 2 sacks and like 7 or 8 pressures and was just dominant Not only that, when I watched the film on him play at that level at Southeastern Louisiana State, he was just a dominant player across the board. And I think in that third or fourth round, say if we go defensive end first, or if we trade back and we get some more picks, he could be a guy that could get up the field and play a 1 and a 3 technique and to be paired with Shamar Turner. You know, not just two gapping, but the boy, he can play, Hayes. I'm not even going to lie to you. So I know y'all doing the mock drafts too, but if I had to do a mock draft in that third or fourth round, he would be highly considered in mine because what we don't have is that inside presence per se to really get up the field and make plays. And we, to me, always felt like a D tackle. I know we talk about defensive end, but a D tackle is a prominent player that we need not only to hold gaps in the run game, but to also force some things up the field in the pass game as well. So I know that's a guy. Also, Zane Durant from Penn State is another one. Another D tackle we can think about or consider. You know, either way it go, I think he would be really good. And then one more at safety. Two more. Trey Stoops from Arizona and Bud Clark from TCU. They both have a knack for getting the ball, and I think they can do wonders with this team. But let me know what you think. As always, shots on up, bear down, y'all.
Kaleb Proctor, right? I'm going to focus on that one because you threw out a lot of names. I'm going to focus on Kaleb Proctor here, though. A senior, 6'3", 280 pounds, decent combine speeds when it comes down to 15 sacks over the course of his collegiate career with 136 tackles as well, 91 of those being assisted, 2 passes deflected as well, 2 forced fumbles. This is a guy that physically is a monster, a beast, and a physical presence that you just can't deny when you see this guy on the football field. And I tell you what, the Bears are going to be looking for some late-round gems, much like they found with Kyle Monangai. If they're able to find that, like, why not take it? And Proctor could very well be that. As a late option, you could do a lot worse than Kaleb Proctor. And if he ends up working out for you, all right, cool. You took a shot on the guy that wowed at the combine, that has a lot of upside potential, even though potential always isn't realized. So I would not hate if that's what the Chicago Bears decide to do at all. I think that could be the right place that they need and should be in with the decisions they make in this draft. And we'll just see. Like, you brought up a lot of interesting names, but that was the one that I wanted to zero in on because I can see that guy at bare minimum being part of your tackle rotation. And why not have a big body like that? We had that with Daniel Gafford. That's what we're hoping with Gallimore as well. Why not have a young guy that can fill that role, run stopping, get to the quarterback a little bit, put pressure on guys? Why not do that? That's just my thought process. Great call out there, Keys. Let's get into this last voicemail for today, man. This one's from Xavier.
What's going on, guys? This is Xavier calling in, man. I just want to speak on the Caleb Williams contract situation. Man, I hope we get it done early, bro. I don't want to have to be in a situation where the Cowboys are in, where we don't pay our guys early and then we end up trying to wait and stall out with the process of paying these guys because the money's only going to get bigger. So I'm looking at right now, Caleb will probably make anywhere between 65 to 68 million, more than likely. And I mean, I say just pay him as soon as we can, bro. At the end of next season, get that deal done. Give him maybe a 5 or 6 year deal, or even I don't think that he would do like the Mahomes deal, the 10-year deal that Mahomes did, which the money spreads out and they can restructure and move the money around, which will help us a lot. But even if we just give him like a 4 or 5 year deal, give him the guaranteed money up front and just have flexibility to restructure the deal year after year. That's the thing. If we have the flexibility to restructure that deal year after year, it'll be perfect because we can still put funds to other positions of need if we need to. So that's the good thing about like having a long-term deal like what Mahomes did versus the shorter-term deal. But, I mean, even with the shorter-term deals, you can still have that flexibility if you want it. But we cannot afford to wait. We have to pay them immediately, and that'll be less headaches and less drama for us to have to deal with as a team because we see how the Cowboys had to overpay for Dak Prescott 2 times. They had to overpay CD Lamb, and then they waited on Michael Parsons. So we don't want to be in that situation because that's stupid. If you if you know you're going to pay this guy, you're going to keep this guy, just pay him as soon as possible because the price tag only goes up. It's going to keep going up. So I just say get the deal done as soon as possible, and because a lot of quarterbacks are coming up again. Joe Burrow will probably restructure or redo his deal. Mahomes will probably do another one. Lamar will do another one. Herbert, Sam Darnold, all these guys are going to do other deals. So we have to strike and get this deal done early so we won't have to pay Kaleb the money that they're going to get because it's going to keep resetting. But you know how y'all feel about it, Chicago up there now.
Caleb Williams' contract extension is going to be interesting, right? I love that you pointed out at the end there. It's about the guaranteed money, right? Regardless of the amount per year, the signing bonus stuff, how much is he getting guaranteed? And that's going to be the interest. But it's all on Caleb, right? Based off what Ryan Poles said, based off what Ben Johnson has alluded to, it's all on Caleb. They are looking at Caleb to see how much he progresses now. His second year under a good play caller and a good head coach in Ben Johnson. Third year overall in the league. How much refinement has he added to his game? What has he added as a player to his game? And if you do that, it could be great for him. So, the Bears are going to take care of Caleb Williams. Having a franchise quarterback is something that this team has never really had. And they feel like they have that guy in Caleb, as they should. And now we got to go see how Caleb's going to continue to grow, how he's going to refine his game, and what the answers that you get in that is going to mean a lot for the Chicago Bears future. And let's hope that we got the right guy, because a lot of us think that we have. He just got to go out there and continue to prove it. But that's going to be it, man. Thank you guys for listening for today, man. Let me know how you guys feel down below. What is Caleb Williams worth to you? I want to keep asking you guys on that one. And who's a late round gem that you think the Chicago Bears can find in this draft? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. You can follow us at Shy Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. Wrong number, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.